Hello everyone and welcome back to our blind let's play of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trials of Tribulation. My name is FlightlessBird, this is your story-based gaming channel, and today we are going to try to get down to the bottom of this case. Although I haven't told a couple of times that it looks like we're still probably 2 episodes away from getting to the conclusion. But, let's see what progress we make today, shall we? Nick, I think it's still a little early for a victory pose. Huh? It's so sad. No one has any conviction these days. Conviction, you see? Yesterday, we all decided unanimously that this man was Master the Mask. And now, we're calling him a murderer. You don't think we're being a tad fickle?
That's a good point.
No way, don't fall for that too, Your Honor. You say that Luke Atme was the one who killed Kane Bullard. Then let me ask you this. Why would he do that?
An excellent point.
All the exclamated dots?
Motive, Mr. Right, motive. May you, my merry murderous motive, manifest.
Wow, that's quite an alliteration there. Nick, he's getting his second wind.
If you prepared an alibi and pinned his crime on Ron DeLite, as you say, he must have had a very strong motive for murder.
The only one with any motive we've seen is Ron DeLite. Isn't that right, Detective?
Oh, indeed. According to my own research, the boy's motive is clear. Without a motive, it's nearly impossible to prove guilt in a murder case. Now then, maybe you can enlighten us to as what the defendant's motives were.
I'd be honored to, Sir Otama. They're doing everything they can to make Ron look suspicious. Despite a lack of hard information, this may be our only chance. Alright, here we go. Motive for murder. Sorry, I was just caught off guard by this super upbeat investigative music. Music is really good, by the way. I mean, it just is.
Look at me. Had no points of contact with the victim whatsoever.
Kane Bullard decided to investigate Master the Mask and simply mistook who he was.
It was Mr. Bullard
who wrote in the blackmail letter and sent it to Ron DeLite.
And it was again Mr. Bullard who harbored a grudge against Mr. DeLite for his betrayal. Mr. Bullard's mistake is quite excusable. The defendant truly believes he is Master the Mask. And that is why Mr. DeLite saw fit to kill Kane Bullard. It's truly a tragedy. So the victim, Kane Bullard, blackmailed the defendant?
This is the blackmail letter found in the defendant's apartment. A handwritten test confirms that Mr. Bullard was indeed the one who wrote the letter. What? Blackmail letter updated in court record. Found in Ron DeLite's room, written by Bullard.
Very well, Mr. Wright. You may begin your cross-examination, and this time don't try to take 20 minutes like last time.
I'll do my best, Your Honor. Motive for murder.
Look at me. I had no points of contact with the victim whatsoever.
And who in the world is going to prove that? I will. Huh? All the exclamated dots? After doing a thorough background check of Detective Atme and Kane Bullard, we were unable to find any links between them. It's all in the report.
Perhaps they were connected through the work. I mean, they were both involved in security.
Nope.
Well, that was blunt.
Yeah, that was very quick too. In any case, the only one with the motive was Mr. Delight. Keen Bullard decided to investigate Master the Mask and simply mistook who it was. Mistook? Well, that's right, mistook. From the old mistaka, meaning to take an error. That wasn't what I meant. I didn't know that was from the Old Norse either. Well, just who did the victim mistake Master the Master be? Why, the answer is obvious. Ron Delight, of course. Boy, I'd like to wipe that smug look off this guy's face. Press harder. Why would the victim mistake the defendant for Master the Mask? Don't you already know that? Because he came dressed like Master the Mask. Safari! Take a look at this newspaper. Oh, well, that's the famous tear of M&N. It's a magnificent jewel. And that photo shows the magnificent detective as well, does it not? Furthermore, it also shows an ugly guard, namely the defendant. The defendant. The victim clearly misread the article in Safari! He got the wrong impression. The impression that this ugly security guard was in fact Master the Mask. I see. That was an unusually reasonable deduction. And it was Mr. Bullard who wrote the blackmail letter and sent it to Ron Delight. You mean this blackmail letter right here? It says, bring $50,000. And the handwriting is, without a doubt, the victim's. There's no mistake. We have an official report to prove it. But I don't see an addressee on this letter anywhere. An addressee? This letter was discovered in Ron Delight's apartment, and Mr. Delight did show up at the designated place and time. The fact that there is no addressee is irrelevant. I wonder. What's up, Nick? I just had a thought. What if that blackmail letter wasn't meant for Mr. Delight? Whoa, do you have any evidence of that? For some reason, I just can't shake the feeling that there's something not quite right about this blackmail letter. Well, everyone, are you quite satisfied? So, are you saying that... Hold on, are you saying that... Bullard sent the blackmail letter to Atme. And then Atme sent the blackmail letter to Ron Delight. And Ron Delight, thinking that the blackmail letter was about him being Master the Mask, then went to Bullard's office, and Atme set everything up in that way. Do we have evidence that it wasn't... Let me look at the blackmail letter again. There's something we misread here. Let's read this carefully. If you don't want your true identity revealed to the world, come to KB Security at 1 o'clock a.m. on October 12th and bring $50,000. If you don't, I'll take that red diamond you received the other day instead. Now, one of the things that I've been doing wrong with these letters is not reading them fully. And the thing that sticks out to me is the words red diamond. And why do I say that? Because isn't the picture of a blue diamond? Or is it not? It's the newspaper, isn't it? This right here. So that's a blue diamond. The tier of Emanon isn't red. So what? And then if we look at the things that are stolen, you have the tier of Emanon, the crown of Bangora, the left hand of Hades, and the portrait of Magina. So none of those are blue gems. Alright, let's... Again, the problem with this game is you may understand something, but you don't know how to present it. So let's continue to go through this, and then I'll go back to that statement. I'll try the, what am I gonna try? The newspaper clipping? Or the, blackmail letter? So that's the problem. See, I kind of want to use both together, I just don't know how. Anyway, let's continue with the pressing first. And it was again Mr. Bullet who had a grudge against Mr. Delight for his betrayal. What do you mean by that? Oh my, I was certain you were already aware. Safari! KB Security has a lot of security info on all sorts of companies. And since I was security team's chief, I stole data from the company. King Bullet had yet to forgive Mr. Young Delight, which is why he sent him that letter upon mistakenly believing that he was the thief. Here is a file that we discovered in Mr. Bullet's office. Evidence that Mr. Bullet was receiving money through blackmail. However, isn't that a bit odd? Why did the defendant pay Mr. Bullet the money, even though it wasn't actually Master the Mask? On that point, that was an unfortunate bit of chance. Mr. Bullet's mistake is quite excusable. The defendant truly believes he is Master the Mask. Do you really think that story is going to hold up? The assertion is not really my own, I'm afraid. What do you mean? I have here a memo from Ron Delight's wife, Desiree Delight. Ronnie thinks he's Master the Mask. Don't you feel sorry for him? Please don't think too badly of him. Well, Mr. Trite. Ugh. Was he trying to act like Miss Delight just now? Sorry, I don't know. I don't know. Rodney thinks he's, Master the Mask. I can't, I'm sorry. Trying to put a my voice in his way. I'm, oh boy. Anyway. I thought he was actually pretty convincing. That is why Master Delight thought fit to kill King Bullet. It's truly a tragedy. Now that's just your imagination talking. Come now, Sir Lawyer. I'm afraid imagination isn't the right word for it. This is a deduction, a result of carefully applied reasoning. Can we hear that careful reasoning for ourselves? Oh, it's a long story, and better saved for another time. Very well, another time, perhaps. Those so-called long stories aren't usually all that long. At least, not in my experience. So you're going to try to connect Detective Atme to Mr. Bullet, right? Yeah, well that's right. Hopefully it won't require surgery either. In that case, you'll hear to talk about that blackmail. That's true. Was that blackmail letter really intended for Ron? Since we don't have enough information, you should press him for more testimony. Maybe I'll be able to shake some contradictions loose that way. So, are we supposed to go back through this again? I mean, I've already been stumped on this once, right? So why don't we just quickly scan through these and see if there's something else that pops up, because yeah, let's just go through this again. But seeing this picture and seeing that blue gem clearly makes me think that there's something wrong with this picture. Wait, that looked new. Was that new? Well, let me go back to that. Blackmail letter, right, we're here. Official, we don't see an addressee. An addressee. This letter was discovered in Ron Delight's apartment, and Mr. Delight did show up at the designated place in time. The fact that there is no addressee is irrelevant. I wonder. What's up, Nick? I just had a thought. What if that blackmail letter wasn't meant for Mr. Delight? So, there's something not quite right about this blackmailer. I agree. I see it too. But how do I... Maybe I had to press it on this one. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna take a shot. Because I believe this is what you were supposed to do. So, what did I just do? I just missed it. Here. Yes! I think we got it. Mind if I ask you a few questions, Detective Atme? Well, if it's just a few, I guess it's alright. When he said that this letter was addressed to Ron Delight, I couldn't help but notice one major contradiction. There's no addressee. Okay, so maybe I got the right answer in the wrong way, as what happens in Ace Attorney tradition? Instead of calling this Ace Attorney trilogy, I should call it the Ace Attorney tradition. Good contradiction. I don't know where a walking contradiction like you gets off saying things like that. Wow. You want to talk? At times like these, men are made to express themselves with their fist. Why don't you show us what you got there, Junior? Indeed, time to man up, Mr. Wright. Show us the contradicting evidence of the content of the blackmail letter. It's the newspaper. Take a look at this newspaper clipping. It contains a picture of the tear of Emanon, the stolen jewel. Yes! Oh my goodness! Finally! Finally! I am able to connect two dots together in this game and actually prove what I wanted to say. Thank you. Oh, that's such a good feeling. Ah, as long as he says what I hope he's going to say, which is the jewel is blue, but the blackmail letter says it's red. Really hope that's it. What about it? The problem is this jewel's color. Yes! Oh, so good. Color. I'm not much for discussing color myself. According to the clipping, the color of the stolen jewel was blue. Man, if you were colorblind and you were playing this game, you'll have to let me know how you saw this in the description box below. But then again, if you're colorblind and you see blue, what would blue look like? Because if blue looks like red, then that would be a problem. But if the blue looked like anything other than red, I guess you could still connect the dots. However, in the blackmail letter, a totally different jewel is mentioned. I can't believe I never caught this before. I'll take that red diamond you received the other day. Red? Which means, the red diamond described in the blackmail letter is not the tear of Emanon that Master Mass stole at all. And your point is, Mr. Trite. So you are trying to say that the blackmail letter was intended for someone else? That is what you're trying to say, right, Trite? That is what you're trying to say, right, Mr. Trite? Right? Well, that is what you're trying to say, right, Nick? Yo, please stop. Yes, that is what I'm trying to say. Jeez, pay attention. This is who Kane Bullard was actually blackmailing. Naturally, it was you, Detective Atme. That seems so obvious. Like, I didn't even need to think about this one. There's only one obvious person he could have been trying to blackmail. Oh, the dots. Yes, some sort of basis for the claim. It's either him or Desiree, but when you look at how this case has gone so far, it seems very obvious it had to have been Luke Atme. You have been personally involved in every single mass starter mass case. And in the last case, you recovered what was stolen and received a jewel. As a reward, a jewel. Probably the one wrapped conspicuously around your finger. Ah, yes. So that's the red jewel that he stole. That red diamond ring. Oh, what do they say? The best way to hide something is to hide it in plain sight so everyone can see it? That is the diamond referred to in the letter. Which means that Kane Bullard wrote the letter in order to blackmail you. No! Order in the court. Order I see. No, that I will say that was the best testimony so far in this case. Because I have been stumped so many times so far and frustrated so many times, but that one actually made a lot of sense. It seems you've gone too far with your childish pranks, Mr. Wright. And the best thing is, they even give you clues to help you go find the contradiction. Unlike many times in this case where I just felt like I was, you know, in a canoe without a paddle up a river. Uh-oh. I don't like the way you said that. Kane Bullard blackmailing Luke at me. Are you for real? Yes, I am. Nick, come on, stand up to him. Then answer me this. The blackmail letter contains the following passage. If you don't want your identity revealed to the world. Yes, it certainly does. Well, the identity is easy. It's the ace detective being an ace blackmailer, right? Or thief? Kane Bullard threatened to make Luke Atmey's identity public knowledge. An identity he wanted to keep a secret. So just what was that identity? It's the same as, shoot, what was that guy's name from, the last case? The squeaky clean image dude. I'm sorry, I'm mentally blanking. I hate it when that happens. Seriously, I hate it when your mind just goes blank. But you know who I'm talking about, the actor, you know, the one who was probably one of the most devious villains to date. The fact that he wanted his fresh, you know, innocent identity to be the one the world shows, and in the background, he's this evil, malicious piece of garbage. I mean, I don't know why this is even a question. It seems obvious. Atmey killed Kane Bullard because he was afraid of his secret becoming known. What was the identity he wanted to keep secret? This is what it all comes down to, Nick. The identity that Luke Atmey wants to desperately keep secret was the identity as an ace detective. Exactly. But, oh, okay, I can save. Good. I was about to say, I want to choose something else that's not correct just because I want to see the dialogue. So it's definitely the ace detective, right? So let's do the other two. Luke Atmey was masked. Start to mask. All the dots. Oh, it's so good. Because the whole point is if he was masked, start to mask, then he wouldn't need to. Then how do you explain the masked, start to mask that was at the urn? Oh, wait, we've already explained that, right? Yeah, but we already know that we've proven masked, start to mask to be Atmey in the last trial, and now we're trying to disprove it in this trial. So for us to say in this trial is basically like we're disproving ourselves in this trial from last trial. Oh boy, I'm confusing myself. What? That's my line. What's that supposed to mean? That's my line too. Listen up, you. This is what you've been saying up to this point in time. The witness pretended to be masked, start to mask in order to pin the murder on the defendant. In which case, you'll want to insist up to and beyond the day you die that Rhonda Light was in fact masked, start to mask. I must see, the sudden change of heart doesn't reflect well on you. Yeah, I know, but I had to see what would happen if we said it, right? Like, we clearly know it's Ace Detective. Or at least that's what we think. Look at me. Was a blackmailer. Oh, there's so many dots. Hey now. Isn't that a little different from what you've been saying? You said that Kane Bullard was the one blackmailing Luke Atmey. Are you saying that Atmey was blackmailing someone else on top of that? You have to admit, that does sound a little odd. It's not odd. It's the only thing that makes any sense. King Bullet was blackmailing Look At Me. But Mind Delight was also being blackmailed by someone else. Oh, I guess that was the right answer. Hey, how about that? So I guess I was wrong after all. And that does make sense too. But at the same time, I would think that the idea that I wanted to protect his identity as a detective is more apt. Look At Me was an ace detective. Well, thank you for the kind introduction. I am Look At Me, ace detective. One embodies the defiance forces of darkness, the other the angelic cherubs of light. I am completely lost. Someone get me a translator. But anyway, everyone already knows you're an ace detective. You see, that's annoying because he says what identity is he trying to protect? He's trying to protect the identity of him being ace detective, not the identity of him being a blackmailer. So maybe I just misread that wrong. Well, anyway, let's continue on. But Mind Delight was also being blackmailed by someone else. So, did you start receiving blackmail letters after this incident? Yes, just a few days after the Eminon heist. After that, I started getting the plans in the mail. I received plans from someone very kind person. Incredibly detailed plans.
Detailed plans, you say? In which case, it would mean that Mind Delight was actually Master Damask.
And that is what we are claiming. Someone else came up with the plans and had Mr. Delight steal his targets for him. By the way, question for the audience. In America, we have something called Double Jeopardy laws. And what that says is if you are found not guilty of a crime not guilty. The word isn't innocent, but not guilty. So if you're found not guilty of a crime, you can't be tried for the same crime afterwards, even if there's evidence that says you did it. And that's what we call Double Jeopardy. I know this game originated in Japan. Does Japan have a Double Jeopardy law? Because if so, that means that Godo knew that Ron was not Master Damask, but set up the trial anyway knowing this, which gives Ron a free ride out of jail for being a thief as long as he doesn't steal anything else. Because all the previous crimes he can't be accused of anymore because he's already been found not guilty of those crimes, right? So that's a weird little bit of logic that, I mean, we're supposed to be someone who seeks the truth, regardless of what that truth is. I feel kind of bad about that when I think about it too deeply. Someone else came with the plans and had Mr. Delight steal his targets for him. And that someone was none other than Look At Me. Shh! Silence! Oh, the dots. Now I see it's all becoming clear. What is... When you were in grade school, you received the same report card every year. Careless with the tendency to jump to conclusions, am I wrong? How did you? You say that I Look At Me was blackmailing Mind Delight. In which case, I would naturally know all about his relation to Master Damask. Well, yes. And Mind Delight started receiving plans from a second crime onward, correct? Which means I learned of his identity when he committed the first crime.
Good point. You certainly wouldn't hit. You couldn't have blackmailed him otherwise.
Anyone know how many coffees this is? I lost track. In that case, let's see some hot, bitter evidence. During the first crime, how did Look At Me know that Mind Delight was Master Damask? Wasn't it the newspaper clipping again? I think I see it. See what? When you were in grade school, you received the same report card every year. Gets into lots of mischief trying to be the center of attention. Oh! What do you mean? This newspaper clipping. It's the only thing that could be from the first case. Has a picture of you around a light in his guard uniform. It seems that Master didn't just disappear into thin air. He just took off his outfit and hid in a bucket, and you found the bucket, and you found the costume, and then you connected two and two together.
Well, that sounds too stupid to be true.
Well, have you seen Rondalite? I hate to say that, I'm sorry, but I know he's not a stupid guy. I'm just saying, he doesn't seem like the brightest light bulb in the room. Correct. With tricks like that, you couldn't fool a baby, let alone an ace detective. And that's when you figured it out, Mr. Atme. That's when you learned that under his mask, Mask was really Ron Delight. What the? Wasn't he supposed to be Mask? Not only that, it looks like he wasn't even an ace detective. Oh, I can't believe it. He was just a slimy blackmailer? What a fraud. Trying to pass himself off as an ace detective? Oh, the elongated dots. Why, you? How dare you expose me like that? All the dots. Why, I never blackmailed anyone in my life. I'm a famous bad ace detective and also Master the Mask. Why can't you understand that? I'm afraid you are neither a proud thief nor an ace detective. You're a blackmailer and a murderer, and that is your true identity. Why? Can you make a baby such as a confident and knows why not do something yourselves with that big mouth that you guys are around, folks? I say none of you can compare my Jesus, just around. You just can commemorate me. There are many times like that. I the background money threats. I'll get away with all that. It's enough to make you all that. Alright, yeah. Oh, I need to take a breath. Oh. Yep. We have an answer. Indeed, Judge, we do.
Well, it would seem we finally arrived at the real answer.
That was quite a performance by Mr. Atme.
Bailiff, please prepare a seal for Mr. Atme.
Objection! Here we go. The hammer that strikes too fast has no time to aim.
What do you mean? I'm already prepared to deliver my ruling.
Allow me to say one thing. I will be the one to judge.
Oh, they actually made duds.
You don't get much more in your face than that. It appears that your claws were quite sharp enough, Mr. Trite. What do you mean? All this makes perfect sense. Well, what do you mean? I mean, aren't you the prosecutor? Is it your job to go after scum like this? Why are you defending scum like this? It's true that you've proven a lot of things. Things like Luke Atme was a filthy blackmailer, and that he wasn't at Lordly Taylor the night of the murder. And that's right. That's why he's the one who killed Mr. Bull. But there's still one thing you have yet to prove.
What's that?
Just because he wasn't at the warehouse doesn't mean he was at the murder scene. Therefore, if you can't prove that this pitiful excuse for the man was at KB security, then I don't see how a verdict can be delivered. You know, I hate to say it, but he has a point. We just can't lock someone up for murdering someone without proof that they actually murdered someone. But the problem is, they've been doing that with Ron Delight, though. But Ron Delight was at the scene of the crime, and we can pinpoint him at the scene of the crime. But there's no evidence to say that he actually killed Bullard, but there is evidence to say that he hid the body, which many people would believe. You know, why would you hide the body unless you had something to hide? So I can see what he's saying here. Yeah, I follow you, Godo, and you're right. You can't just lock someone up away without definitive proof that they actually did the murder. No way!
Order in the court. Well, Mr. Wright.
This is it. This is the final round. Got to prove that Atme was at Mr. Bullet's office on the night. But can you really prove that? I don't know. That's long enough, Mr. Trite. I want to hear your answer. That night, Luke was at KB's security and the defense. Can we prove that he was there? What evidence do we have that says he was there? No fingerprints. That doesn't say anything about the night in question. That doesn't say anything about night in question. Same on that. That's just all Ron stuff. Storm entrance. See, none of that says. None of this says that he was there. So I don't think I can prove it. I'm gonna go ahead here and save and say I can't prove it and see what happens. Because normally what ends up happening is if you can prove it, the game is going to loop you back to this. But if you can't prove it, then it's going to give you new stuff. So when in doubt, say you can't. And at the very worst, you could just always load it if you lose HP. I can't prove it.
Just as I thought.
But if we hear more Detective Atme's testimony.
Objection!
Unfortunately, that's as far as you go, Mr. Trite. What do you mean? I won't allow for any more testimony, that's what I mean. What? Have you forgotten Luke Atme is here after we interrupted his own trial? And you have failed to prove that he committed the murder. I think it's time for this witness to return to his own trial and face his guilty verdict as mask started mask. No. Well now, so there, it seems that that was out to the end after all. I am the detective as well as mask started mask, and my verdict will verify that. Just as one delights will verify that he is the term murderer. I now declare that with the full force of my ace, Detective Nos.
Order in the court. Let's need deliberation of this witness.
I can't believe this. At this rate, Ron is. So don't give up, Nick. We still have tomorrow. We can look for more evidence and... By then, it'll be too late. Huh? Well, why? Double Jeopardy. One of the basic rules of any court of law. Hey, I was just talking about this. Okay, well... Yeah. Double Jeopardy?
Should a defendant be tried and found innocent in court, well, that defendant cannot be tried again for the same crime.
Okay, so there is Double Jeopardy, which means... Why would Godo try Von Delight as Mask Started Mask knowing of this law? And I'm so curious if this is in the Japanese version. So yeah, let me know. Does Japan have a similar law to this, or is there something else here instead of this scene that explains the laws over there instead?
Well, that is a fundamental rule of all courts, and it applies to this witness as much as it applies to anyone else.
Mr. Atme will be found guilty in a matter of minutes. Guilty as Mask Started Mask, which means
he will be innocent as far as the murder of King Bullet is concerned.
So that doesn't make any sense. No way.
The fact that you were unable to prove Mr. Atme's guilt of that crime here means that he will never again be tried as King Bullet's murderer.
Now there's nothing I can possibly do to win. Even if honest but claim to be innocent. The real killer, look at me, will go free.
You have cross-examined every statement the witness has made here today. And as long as there is no more testimony, I'm afraid I have to declare that there will be no further questioning of this witness. Are there any objections?
Object, dude. Object.
Then I hereby end the cross-examination of Look at Me.
Objection!
I think I see it. Is that... sounds like Adrian? Your Honor, when you were a child, this is what was on your report card every year. Has poor hearing and often makes mistakes as a result. Oh. Is that Mia?
How did you?
Phoenix, raise your head up high. Have you forgotten when I used to tell you? Yeah, it is Mia. Hey, Mia's here to save us. A lawyer is someone who smiles no matter how hard it gets. That voice. No way. Yes! Long time no see, Phoenix. Mia! This is the true power of the quiet channeling technique. I know that it's really Maya who's standing before me. But right now, she's my mentor, Mia Fey. Now, let's do this. But there's nothing more we can do, Mia. Without any more testimony, I can't cross-examine. Not yet. Testimony's not over yet. Well, what do you mean? Your Honor, just now you said something very interesting. You have cross-examined every statement the witness has made here today.
Yes, that's true, but...
Unfortunately, Your Honor, you're forgetting something. Earlier, after the last cross-examination, this witness made a number of remarks. Well now, so there, it seems that love was out in the end after all. I am the ex-detective as well as Master the Mask. My verdict will verify that. Just as Ryan Delights will verify that he is the true murderer. And I declare that with my full force of all my detectiveness.
Yes, but his comments appear to have no importance whatsoever.
Very well, then we shall prove their importance via cross-examination. At any rate, as long as the witness had made these remarks, we, the defense, assert our right to question them. Is that alright with you, prosecutor? All the many dots.
Is something the matter, Mr. Godo?
Oh, all the exclamative dots. Nothing. Oh, so there, it looks like you went to date. If you think such hustlers will do anything to me, look at her. Let's hear it then. Huh? It's true that the witness made some remarks. So then, let's hear this last bit of cross-examination. Mr. Godot, what are you?
Very well then, Mr. Look at Me. I'm going to allow the defense to cross-examine your earlier remarks.
The defense would like to hear what you declared the defendant the true murderer.
So please, give us one last bit of testimony.
Phoenix, this is it. This is our absolute last chance. Yes, Chief. Alright, let's do it. The last testimony. Indeed, it is true that I was not at Lord the Teller. I had to leave to see about another vitally important job request. I had known about the date beforehand, so I had this photograph ready. My brilliant deduction was what informed me that the two culprits was Ron Delight. And thanks to the key card and wallet, it was abundantly clear that he was there. I was also able to make a deduction from the buzzer, which only sounded once. The button did not have any fingerprints on it, and why? The victim would have left prints if he scented it, which means the killer scented it. Mr. Delight was wearing his studded mask outfit, which is why he left no prints. And a blackmail letter, the victim likely just mistook it, the color of the jewel. Survive! Therefore, all evidence points to that pure boy. How many statements was that? This testimony actually seems to hold up pretty well. The witness's early remarks do not appear to be hastily prepared. All these points have been explained and none of them seem to contradict anything. But of course. But how did you know about the emergency buzzer? The police investigation documents went directly through moi. And I always look over all the documents. It's elementary, sir lawyer. Are you going to make even more trouble for us now, sir lawyer?
I will not allow any of your usual shenanigans, Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor.
We cannot postpone Luke Atmy's trial any longer. This is your last chance.
Hang on a sec. Just one chance? It seems that the party's about to begin. Well, Phoenix, there isn't any evidence that contradicts with that testimony. So it would seem. What do you mean, so it would seem? Listen, Phoenix, pointing out contradictions doesn't always mean you have to present evidence, does it? At any rate, this is our last chance. If you can't point out a case-breaking contradiction, you lose. That's all there is to it. Cup number 17, the last cup. It seems the time has come to put an end to this trial. Oh boy, I have to find a fatal contradiction in his testimony. And I need to point it out without presenting evidence. Which means all I can do is find the contradictory mark and press it. Remember, you only get one chance.
Very well then, Mr. Wright. Please begin your final course examination.
Oh boy, last testimony. Do I only get one chance? So if I press all the statements, is it gonna bug out? Mr. Atmy, about this last remark.
Objection!
You still don't get it, do you, Trite? This isn't the time to be pressing the witness on every little statement. What? I said this before. There's still one thing you haven't proven. That this scum was in Kane Bullard's office that night. So I like how he calls him a scum. You know he's dirty. And now, it's time for me to drink my last cup.
Mr. Wright, I will hold you to your end of the bargain.
Whoa! Whoa! Holy cow! And again, you can't load. Huh. Alright, well, I know we're going on 50 minutes, but considering this is the last cup, you know, we could go longer. Let's see. Key card in the wallet. Well, it all went through him because of the police office. The victim would have left prints on it, which means the killer sounded it. But the victim was struck. Was he struck on the back of the head or to the front of his head? How would he have had time to do that? Mr. Atmy, about this last remark. You still don't get it, do you, Trite? This isn't a time to be pressing the witness on every little statement. What? But this is... I guess it's not that either. Alright, well, you know, this may take a while, my friends. By the way, how is everyone doing today? I don't know if I said it yet already, but I hope you're all having a wonderfully fantastic day. as we continue playing Ace Attorney trilogies. And, yeah, I mean, it's this. I mean, there's only like 7 statements, right? So, eventually, you know, we're going to get to the bottom of this. The blackmail letter.
Objection.
So I was told not to, okay. I was told not to jump the gun on the load, but it doesn't matter because you can't load anyway. So that's not it. Should I just go down the line? I hate it. I hate it when the game basically just gives you one shot or it's game over. You know what I mean? Alright, so let's just go down the line, I guess. I know it's not the most exciting thing, but I don't know what else. But the thing is, if I don't go down the line, I'm gonna just end up repeating myself over and over and over again. So, what have I chosen before? Chose this. And I chose this, so let's choose this.
Objection.
Oh, we shook our head! Yes, this is it! I'm afraid you're the one who still doesn't get it, Mr. Godot. Oh, what? Mr. Atme, it seems you have finally admitted that you were in the CEO's office on the night of the murder. Wow, can you say that? Let's review your testimony, shall we, Mr. Atme? The button did not have any fingerprints on it. Why? Mr. Delight was wearing his mask-started mask outfit. Is that correct? Indeed, that's what I said. My deductions are absolutely foolproof. Well, like your deductions prove that you are a foolishly foolish fool and foolishly foolishes. I'm sorry, whatever do you mean? For some reason, I'm starting to get really thirsty. When exactly did we learn the fact that Rhonda Light was dressed up as Mask-Sergeant Mask when we went to the scene of the crime? Well, that was it was just a few hours ago when he was in the other. I understand. He was in the other courtroom, so there's no way he could have known unless he saw Rhonda Light in his Mask-Sergeant Mask outfit. I get it now. Back when my 6th cup was looking at me with a cold stare. Huh? Oh, did I forget to mention it before? I'm sorry, I just never had a chance to mention it until now. That's right. The defendant has yet to tell anyone else the fact before this morning. Therefore, the only people who know this are those who have been watching this trial. Do you understand now, Detective Atme? There is no way that you should have known about that. You were in the next courtroom being tried as Mask-Sergeant Mask. So then, enlighten us. Just how did you know about this piece of information? Well. Come now. This detective must have known about it. He probably had plenty of chances to find out beforehand. And it's those chances that I want to discuss next. That night, Mr. Delight was wearing his Mask-Sergeant Mask outfit. There is one and only one way for Detective Atme to have found that out. Only one? One way, you say? Because it was there. Please recall, if you will, Mr. Delight's testimony. When I entered the office, there was a suspicious shadow there. For a second, my client witnessed the real killer. But Mr. Delight never saw his attacker. So there's no way to tell whether or not the real killer was Luke Atme. It's with that statement that I'll turn this case on its head. Just what are you implying? Mr. Delight saw the real killer, correct? Now, if you turn that statement around, it stands to reason that the real killer had also seen Rhonda Light. Impossible. I really wish they hadn't shown us that shadow, though. Because it kind of did give away, like, who the killer was, you know? Detective at me saw Mask Sergeant Mask at the murder scene that night. You saw him when he killed Kane Bullard and assaulted Ron Delight. That was the only way you could have known what Ron was wearing. Is there a rocket ship going off? And I like how the podiums are moving. Everyone else is moving. What is going on here? Take a good look, everyone. Unable to find a rival with their budget is outsourced a great one by myself. Here I am, the tragic clown. Well, that's the same line you gave yesterday. But I think there's a little more meaning behind it this time. So long, farewell, and thanks for the fish.
What an awfully complicated incident. Kane Bullard was blackmailing Look At Me was in turn blackmailing Ron Delight. And upon killing his blackmailer, Look At Me tried to frame Ron Delight. He then claimed to be guilty as Mask Sergeant Mask in order to escape his true crime.
And to that end, he came up with this plan. To use the Double Jeopardy rule when making his alibi.
At any rate, it would seem we finally found the truth.
Yes, Ron? Excuse me. You know that's Ron.
I came perilously close to besmirching the record of this innocent young man. Besmirching him with the title of murderer.
Don't ignore me! Yeah, we knew it was Ron.
Oh, I didn't realize you were there.
Why wouldn't he be? About the verdict.
I know. You never committed any murder.
That's right. I'm so glad you understand that, but I really am Master the Mask.
Huh?
So, thanks to that trial yesterday, I'm innocent now, right? What was it you said? Double Jeopardy?
Well, now that you mention it.
I've been careless. Yeah, you have. Good job, dude. Careless? What do you think, Mia? As the defendant says, the rule of Double Jeopardy is absolute. A defendant can never be tried twice for a crime in which he was once found innocent. Well then, Mask Sergeant Mask is really innocent? It would seem so. For now. For now? Yeah, until he commits a crime.
Well, now then, the court finds the defendant not guilty.
It is kind of sad though, because we did get a criminal back on the streets. And as much as you may like what Ron and Desiree have, he's still a thief. And he should still pay for his crime. Boy, this is really lucky. Wait, this isn't so good after all. You see, the thing is, I still am Mask after all. October 14th, 3:35 p.m. District Court, Defendant Line number 4. You did it, Phoenix! Well, thanks, Mia. It's been a long time, hasn't it? Yeah, it's because Maya doesn't call me much these days. Oh? I'm just joking, Phoenix. Don't take everything so seriously. But on the other hand, Maya, she seems kind of torn these days. You mean about becoming the master of the crying channeling technique? Or school? Becoming the master means saying goodbye to our mother. Misty Faye, right? Watch over her, will you, Phoenix? Of course. Well then, see you around. Mia. Mr. Wright. I don't know what to say. Congratulations, Mr. Delight. Thank you so much. All the dots. No, wait. Nothing really matters anymore, though. Now that all this has happened. Come on, just be happy already. Maya. You've been cleared of the murder charges and got off Mask Sergeant Mask to boot. But in exchange, I lost everything. Huh? What do you mean? You mean how your wife hates criminals? Stealing security information from KB Security. Becoming Mask Sergeant Mask. I did it all for one reason. For her. You mean your wife, Desiree? she hates criminals more than anything. Come to think of it, she was once held hostage by some robbers, wasn't she? She always said how she hated secret criminals. I knew that, but once I got fired from KB Security and lost all the money I had, she wouldn't have any reason to stay with me. I thought she would leave me for sure. So that's why you became Mask Star to Mask? Yes, but it's all over now. A broken bowl can never be put back together. But that's not true, right, Nick? Well, look at the urn. Right, I mean. Really? Can we go back to the way things were? You'll be fine, and Nick can prove it. I can? Kinda wish you would check with me first. I have to save here, because I have a feeling it's gonna be one of those. Choose a Mr. Light. Even if a bowl is broken, there's always a way to put it back together. Is it the urn? The sacred urn. Desi was the one who found this. Desiree, your wife. She always believed in you, Ron. That's why you'll be fine. You don't have to worry about anything. Ah, there you are. Mr. Light. You did it, Ronnie. You're innocent. I'm so happy. Thank you. I appreciate that. But, I suppose you don't want anything to do with me anymore, do you? Ronnie, why did you talk to me about what was going on? I had no idea you quit KB Security. I never imagined that you were really Mask Star to Mask either. Mr. Light, what are you going to do now that you know? You're not going to really leave him, are you? Oh, come on. It's obvious, isn't it? How could I ever let a wonderful man like him get away? Aww. After all, my bike's really fast. So fast that there's no way you would ever get away. But didn't you say you hated criminals? Huh? Oh, I only hate people who act all cowardly and sneaky. Like that detective. I see. My Ronnie wanted to clear his crimes before he committed them. Like a man. I just love a man who's so chivalrous. Chivalrous? I know I was right about you. Every day I spent with you was filled with thrills and excitement. Desi. Desi, you really do love Ron, don't you? Nicky boy? Yes? I'm really glad I asked you to defend my Ronnie. Thank you so much. I'll never forget what you've done for us. Oh, well, take care of yourself. You too, Nicky boy. All the dots. Oh, I can feel my face going red. Mr. Nick, Miss Maya, congratulations. Hi, Pearls. All the dots. Huh? Talk about bad timing. Ah! Mr. Nick, with another man's wife, in front of Miss Maya. No, you gotta look. No, I'll never forgive you, never, ever. That's a perfect way to end this episode. So just as the case came to a close, so did my consciousness. Ron said a broken bowl can never be put back together, but I know that's not true. I mean, just look. Aww, big bird! It is a perfect example of one that was put back together even better than before. Oh, it's so adorable! Oh! Another great picture that I can't use as a thumbnail because, darn it. Episode 3, Episode for a Turnabout. Does that look a lot like Maya, by the way, in that picture? So yes, just to see all the dialogue, I need to see what happens if you give them the wrong item. All the dots. Thank you, Mr. Wright, for trying to cheer me up. You don't have to put on a brave face just for me. Huh? I think I'm going to go off by myself and think things over for a while. Wait, Mr. Delight! Farewell, Mr. Wright. Wow, that seems so much different. He's gone. I guess I didn't do much to make him feel any better. Hey, Nicky boy! Mr. Light. I haven't seen Ronnie. Do you know where he is? Well, here I was, all ready to throw my great big no guilty party. Nicky boy? Yes? Okay, so here she says the same thing. But the question is, does does it end the same way? So there's a lot of dialogue you miss if you don't choose that. Do you also mix the thumbnail? Nope, you still get. I didn't mean thumbnail. I want to make this my thumbnail because it's such a great picture, but God, I don't want to rob people of that image. So that wraps up our case number 2 of the 3rd game of Ace Attorney Trilogy. Yeah, not a bad case overall. I wasn't a fan of it early on, and I didn't really like Run the Light at all. But as the case went on, and especially in the second half of the case, it did pick up significantly, and it was a much better case. However, when I do my ranking system, I had to remember to not overlook the first part because, you know, it's something that I mentioned with the Double Jeopardy, and then they bring it up in the game. The fact that they brought it up in the game kind of shows that Godot messed up because he let a criminal walk free. And in a way, we let a criminal walk free. And I don't know. I mean, it kind of makes me feel bad because as a defendant, you want to defend your client, but I don't want to defend guilty people. You know what I mean? It just makes me feel kind of dirty in a way to know that we let a criminal go loose. But at the same time, is that our fault? I mean, it's not our job to prove that. It's the prosecutor, right? So the prosecutor should have been the one to prove the case. It's just, I don't know why you can't. I don't know why we still can't accuse Rhonda Light of his previous crimes, though. Like the first crime. Maybe the other crimes he was being blackmailed, so there's circumstances around the theft. And maybe those circumstances could diminish a punishment. But the first case, we may have proven that he wasn't the one who stole the urn, but can't we prove that it was the one who stole the Emanon jewel? And therefore, couldn't he still go to jail with that? That's what I would do if I was Godot. Because, yeah, you may have been innocent in this particular thing of stealing the urn, but that doesn't mean you're innocent of all the crimes, does it? Anyway, I blather too much. I guess this case made me really think, and games that make you think are not so bad. We've been going for way too long, though, so I love you all so very much. Thank you for everything, and I'll see you guys in the next case. Until then, so long, and take care. Thank you for watching this video. Feel free to comment on what you saw and what you would like to see next. I always love to hear your thoughts. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more. Also, please do not forget, you matter, you are brilliant, and you are loved. And you should always remember to be true to yourself. Don't let the world tell you any different. Much love to you from your friendly feathered flightless bird. Till next time.